Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel Tutor Things. Today in this video we are going to see student management system. So this is one of the example we can say or SQL project we can say. So by using this system we are going to answer some few questions like 30 plus questions I have framed out of this. So we are going to answer each of the questions with detailed explanation. So that will improve like your answering speed and everything, like you will be having some grip on SQL by answering these questions. So let's see the this system from start. Like to manage the system we should first have database, right? So to answer these questions or to create frame questions out of the database we should need a database. So for that I'm going to create database and some tables in that. So I have already written some like some code or some statements here, because if I write everything in this video it will become lengthy. So I have written the statement, so I just execute it. So if you want to take this the same parameters and field IDs, you can just pause my video and take the screenshot or take the text out of there, and then while you are trying you can try the same. So let's get started. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe and click the bell icon so that you will get notified each time when we upload a new video. So we have done HTML, CSS, and then SQL and Java, C Sharp, Python, all the videos we have done in our tutorials. So go to my playlist and check out those videos. That will definitely help you to get the things better. So let's get started. First, I'm creating database called as SMS underscore DB. SMS is nothing but student management system, where you will have to manage the student related data, likewise courses or departments likewise. So let's create a database. First of all, I'm just executing this one statement. So here you can see commands are successfully completed and the completion time is displayed here. So now what I want to do is I want to if you want to confirm like your database has created or not, you can just refresh this, so that you can see in the database fields you will having these databases. Like here you can see SMSDB is there, right? So already the previous databases, here we have this SMSDB. So if you expand the tables column, there is no such tables because we haven't created any table so far in that particular database. So now what I'm writing is here is use SMSDB. So I am using this particular DB. So because there are other DBs also, like here you can see it is a master DB right now. If you want to change and make it as a SMSDB, like which we have created now, so in that what I'm doing is I'm creating a table. We have to use create statement, create table, and mention the table in which you have to create, and then brackets open. We have to specify the fields like SID, that is nothing but student ID, which is of character of 4 characters. Here we have specifying the ID will be a character type which is having four character length, and a primary key. The primary key should be, right? Primary key is a constraint which tells that this particular field is a not to be a null field, and also not to be an like not to be a duplicate key, like no duplicates allowed for this primary key, because everything is unique. So this is what primary key constraint stands for. So student ID will be like character 4 length and primary key. And next we have student name, which is of varchar of 20, and we have student date of birth SDOB, date type. This date of birth I am giving as date type. And then I have city, student city of varchar 20, and student SQL is nothing but qualification is the student post graduation or graduate likewise. The student's qualification is there, which is varchar of 20, which is comes under a string type. Next, yes, email. So student email will be mentioned like varchar of 30, and next S phone, which is students for mobile number, we have varchar of 20. So these are the fields for the student fields. So I'm using this DB and creating this table, student table. I'm just executing this by selecting that particular part. Here you can see completion is completed. If I refresh this particular tables thing, you will be having that table created in that particular database. If I expand SMSDB here, you can see tables. Here you can see student table is now created with these fields. If you expand the student table, you can see columns. You will having these columns which you have given in the SQL query. So this is the primary. This is the foreign key, which is an ID. Student ID is the primary key. And next we having one more table which I am going to create is courses. So every students will have a course, right? Course is a related table. So create table course. In that we have to write course ID and course name, course category, course fees, course duration. These things will be for the course table. Course ID is the same like student ID, which is of character of 4, and primary key, the ID should be primary key. And then we have a course name which is of varchar 20, 40, and category name which is of varchar 20, and fees. If you come into fees, which is a decimal type I have taken, decimal of 10 comma 2, and course duration is just of like 2 hours 3 hours likewise, which is an int type. So I'm just creating this course table by selecting and executing it. So now it's the course table is got created. So next, along with the course we should have a batch, right? So that student related to which batch likewise, that course is for which batch of students likewise. So we are creating a one batch table which is having batch id and batch date, start date, and batch strength, like how much members are there, and next course id, which batch course id is related to. And next, what I'm doing is I'm making this foreign key course id reference to the course table, which is a course id. Course id is present in also in the course table, so I'm relating that course id to here the course id which is mentioned in the batch table also. So for that purpose we have to use this statement called as foreign key. What are the foreign key which you have to use, that we have to mention the braces. And then reference is the keyword which is used to refer what type of key in what kind of table. So refers course, in the course table we have to refer course id, field or column. So this is how you have to create a foreign key. So in batch table I am having this foreign key kind of concept, so I'm executing this particular part, so it is also successfully completed. And one more table we are going to create, that is enrollment table. So what this enrollment table do means the enrollment of that particular student to that particular batch. I am enrolling this particular student to this particular batch. That particular batch will have that particular courses. Like this structure will be happen. You understood, right? So students will be enrolled for particular batch, enrollment for particular batch, and that batch will be having the some courses. So like this the structure will be followed. So for commenting in SQL, we have to use these two dashes. So I'm not having to created this enrollment tablet. Just I will explain you once again like what are the fields which are we having in the enrollment table. So first we'll be having batch ID. So which batch it is, we have the characters for, and student ID will be there. Which student, which batch, that is the mapping we are doing, right? So for the enrollment, these two things, IDs from the batch and IDs from the student we have to take. And for after that enrollment date, at what time they are enrolling, so enrollment date will be there. And also we're having a primary key which is called as batch id and the student id, so both should be unique. So for one student we should be having one batch id only, so that too will be a primary key here. So you can have these two things as a primary key at a time. And we have a foreign key which is called student id, which is referring to the student table student id, and foreign key batch id, which is referring to the batch table batch id. You understood, right? The table structure which we have created for enrollment, I am selecting this part and executing it. So this is also completed. So now we have created student table, and for batch we have created batch table, and for courses we have created courses table, and for enrollment we have created enrollment table. So the only foreign keys which I have used in enrollment keys are student ID and batch ID. So we are enrolling particular student to particular batch ID. So that batch ID which we having a foreign key as in the batch table, we will be having course ID as a foreign key, which is making a connection to the course table. So this is how our table structure is created. You can check that like database diagrams are there for that particular table. If you refresh that, you can see the tables created there. All the tables which you have created will be listed. Here you can see tables column. So batch is there, course is there. Based upon the alphabetical order, it will show you. Even if you have created student table first, it will give you an order: batch, B, C, course, and then E, enrollment, and then we have a student. If you expand each things, and you can check the columns like how you have designed there in the statement wise, that the same will come here. So this is all about creating databases, like creating database and then adding tables to it. So up to here everything is fine, I hope. And the next thing which we have to do is we have to insert data in those fields, right? We should have data so that we can do any kind of operations to that data likewise. So for data management also I have already written some data. So you can see if in the student, I will open the student so that you can understand what columns you have to mention. So you know, right, like how to insert items in that student record. we have to use insert into statement. So insert into which table we have to mention, which is students table, and values what we have to enter, we have to give values of, here we have to follow the order, otherwise it will throw you an error. So student id should be there, which is of character of 4 length. Here you can see yes, 001 is the student id and name of the student is Rajesh here, and then date of birth it is 1980 to 12/17. This will be like date structure it should be in. And next we have to give city, here I am giving Kolkata, and the qualification of the student will be a graduate, and the email id rajesh@gmail.com, and then phone number which is of 10 digit number, which is of varcat 20 we have given. So this is how I'm inserting some data into the student id, which is having some different students. And then from the courses what I'm doing is, the courses like how the course structure is. So first I can execute the student data so that you can once check how it is adding data to there. So now I am inserting, executing this particular thing which we have selected. So it is telling like, okay, so we have to use that database. Which database we have to use, we haven't mentioned there. So we have to use this database. So use that database and we have to execute that. Yeah. Now you can see all the rows are affected, because it will get confused like what database we have to use if you have open other query, right? So it will got confused. Now you can see how many records are affected. So one, so many records have affected. And now we can check the student table, so you can see the data there. Select rows. Here you can see all the data which you have entered through the statement insert into, you can see the data here. So mostly we are having 20 records which are having some null values for emails and some things. So it's okay. Having nulls is not much the thing which you have to observe. Now let's see one more thing. So now in the course table, let's see the course fields what we have to mention. The course ID should be there and course name should be there, and also the course category, which category it is. It's a biotech or civil engineering or like that. So we have to mention the category it falls into, and next fees of 1000, 3000, like courses fees will be there, and duration I told you, right? How many hours we can say or days we can say. So these are the courses fees which I am giving some data to there. I'm executing it. Now you can see, so 5 rows are got affected, so courses are 5. And next we are passing data into the batch also. So in the batch, how the structure will be, you can open and check the columns. You are specifying everything or not. So batch ID will be there, and batch which date batch starts. That batch start date will be there, and next strength. How many batch people are there? Like 10 people are there. Strength of the batch we are mentioning, and the course ID. So which batch will be having which course, like that course ID also they have mentioned. So see batch one also having the same course, and the same course which is having for batch 9 also, like there will be a match in these two things. So I'm executing this batch things also. So now data is fed into the batch table also. So if you want to take the same data, I will pass here, you can take a screenshot, or you can note down the data which I am passing. So that will help you if you are answering the same questions. If you are practicing, it will be helpful to have this data handy. Next, what I'm doing is I'm enrolling the students, as I told you, right? The enrollment of students will be happen through using this enrollment table. So enrollment table will be having batch id and student id, which student which having which batch, and like the starting date of that at what date they are doing this enrollment, the enrollment date we are giving. So let's see, I'm executing this particular part. You can see this is also successfully completed, so every rows got affected. So the completion time they will mention. So now everything is completed, right? We have data in all the tables, you can see. I will show you everything in detail. So now courses table I'm taking, it is fine. um, so instead of having like this scripted, so what we can do is, I will show you one more thing. Yeah, the questions kind of thing. Yeah, here we'll having questions. instead of selecting each and everything, we will have these statements. Select star from um, so the database table we have to mention, which is SMSDB. From courses I have to take, first of all, sorry, courses not course is there, right? Select star from course, and then we'll having student enrollment, those things, batch, student, next enrollment thing. It should come here, like whatever we are mentioning, we should come. So I want to use this table and execute these statements so that you can see all the select statements. Courses table we have got, and batch table we have got, and student table we have got, and enrollment table also we have got. So the see every data is come as perfectly. So selecting all tables we have did by using this particular statement. Select star from course, batch, and student, and you can see how each student is related to which batch. You can see here in the enrollment tables you can see batch 1 is having for batch first student is having batch 1, and all the students you can see every it's a 01 roll numbers we can see. So student 1, student 2, student, everyone has in batch 1 only. For batch 1 which course they have mapped to, you can see for batch 1 we'll having a course 1 only. So course 1 is what? So SQL course. So this is the course for related to the student one. So how it is mapping, like see, student is related to batch, and batch we are having some particular course, and that course details will be found in the course table. And the course fee, so first student is paying 1,000 rupees fee for that particular course. So this is how the relation of these tables will be there. So let's answer each and every question I have with me handy. So the first question here you can see, I will increase the display size so that you can, it will be good for you to understand. So the first thing which I want to is display all the undergraduate students whose names start with S and is of length between 5 and 20. What they are asking? They are asking to display all the undergraduate student whose name starts with S and is of length between 5 and 20. So starts with s and length, the two things which you have to do. So to check with if they, whenever they ask like starts with s and those things, we have to use wild characters. Like statement will be there. So what they want to print, they want to select all the students, right? Student is nothing but student names should be there. So yes name, s name, from what table? From student table. So from student table, student name we have to get. Which student they want to get? They want to apply this condition like qualification, right? So the qualification will be they are asking like undergraduate. So whatever the undergraduate they are asking, we have to type here. And then, and also the thing which they are asking is, and also the name starts with s. So for the name starts with s is, that is nothing but s name. So yes name, like we have to use like statement. So like how it should start with s. So yes, and percentage, so that is nothing but starting letter will be s, and after further maybe any letter or any digits should be there. And next one more condition they are asking, and is of length, and is of length between 5 and 20. So for that purpose what I have to do, and length length we'll have the length this thing, right? Length of function. So length should be length of what? Name. Length of name should be between, so between, we have keyword between 5 and 20, the same which with they're asking, you can mention the same. So between 5 and 20, the name should be, length of the name should be 5 and 20, and the cast starts with S, and then who is an undergraduate qualification. And what we have to do is we have to order by name. You can order, or it will be same, even if you don't order. So this is what they are asking. What we can have len for that, because this is not mysql, it's SQL. So if you run this particular statement, if I execute this, you can see the students which are starting with name yes, and which are having length between 5 and 20, who are undergraduate, we have got this data. Sonali and Suman is the answer for this particular question. You can check, also check with this thing. So if I execute like select star from student, this particular statement, so these are the students, Somali and what are the names which got Sonali, which is an undergraduate, and whose name starts with S, and which is of length of 520. So see, these are the two students which we have here. Undergraduate students are there, but not starts with S. So this is the correct answer which we have got from here. So next question we'll see. It will taking time. If you see, if you again cross check, let's go with the direct answers. So display the students who are senior citizen, that is greater than or equal to 60. So senior citizen students, they want to know. So see, that is got to know by using date of birth, right? So student name, we they're asking like student details on this, so mainly we use student name for that. So student name from student table, student name from student, where what condition they want to apply, they want to check the senior citizens, like, so we have to use the date different function. We have to see whether the date current date current date, or we can go with like get date. We have to find the difference between the date of birth and this thing, that thing we have to do. Get date, and then we have to take like date part from this date of birth, what we have like sdob is there, right? Divide with 365 days, so that should be greater than or equal to 60. This much only, right? Fine. It's throwing an error. Invalid parameter 1 specified. So now let's see, these are the students, right? So I have given that. So senior citizens, they are asking. So if we use date diff function, it will be having like three parameters. So one will be the what difference we have to take, that is year difference we have to get from today's date and then the date of birth. So let's execute this particular statement, the date difference between the today's date and the date of birth of the student. So I can see no records, because there are no such students who are having uh, like senior citizens greater than 60, greater than equal to 60, there are no students, because you can execute students table, and you can see like if I execute the students, The date of birth of the students lies between 49 and 57, 77, 92. So not the who are not from 18s, we all are from 19s only. So there are no such students who are having greater than 60, like who are senior citizens. Let's go to the third question. They are asking about like select student name from student. So display the student who were born after 1st of 1980. So 1980, after 1980 we have 1990 students. So all the 1990 after 1980 students will everyone will come. Who born after that means we have to check with the date of birth only. So where? So date of birth of the student SDOB will be greater than whatever the 19, whatever they are telling, 1980 of June, right? So 06, and then so first day will be there, like June 1st. So after the students from this date they want to get. So 1980, 8th month we are having this student also got. So let's see how many students who are born after this first June 1980. Where you can see these many students who are after born 1980. Out of 20 students, we are having 12 students who are born after 1980. So this is the statement answer for this particular question, third question. And next they are asking about the students who are supposed to only provide mobile numbers. All mobile numbers should start with 0 followed by 10 digits. Display the student name having an invalid phone number. So these are the two things they are asking. So, and also the students who are having this thing supposed to have only provide the students are supposed to only provide mobile numbers. All the mobile numbers starts with 0 followed by 10 digits. Display the student name having an invalid phone numbers. They want to get the student numbers who are having invalid phone numbers, and then who are having like starts with 0, or maybe the members having 11 digits. So these are the things they are asking. So for that, what I want to display is I want to display student name only. So select student name from student, where what condition we have to apply on phone number, right? So yes, phone. So yes, phone they are asking like which starts with 0, so like 0, and after whatever the digit may be, or maybe the length of the what we have the length function, right? So the length of the phone number, yes, phone will be should be greater than 11, like more than 11 digits, or maybe the invalid number, it should be only 11 numbers only. If it is greater than that, then it will be invalid. So or s phone will be is null, like many students haven't give roll number, right? So if it is that null, or greater than 11, or like 0, so these are all will be the invalid numbers. So if it's from that case, or this case, or this case, we have to get that those invalid phone numbers. The order by I want to get by student name to make it is in a good alphabetical order. I am using this order by name. So if I execute this particular statement, you can see these are the students who are having the phone numbers, like invalid phone numbers. If you want to get the phone number, you can also display that part also. See, this is a null phone number, or starts with 0, or having 11 digits. So these are all what we called as the invalid numbers. Here you can see only 9 numbers are there, which is not less than nine, likewise. Not starts with 0. All these are the invalid phone numbers. And next we are having like all mails. Next question is all mails should have at the rate anywhere where the first character and should character ends with after the first character, anywhere after the first character, and after the first character we should have at the rate, and they are asking like and should end with .com. So mail should be valid only if you follow these two things, right? So they are asking to check that. So they want to display like invalid email IDs. So invalid email IDs, that is nothing but that only the count of the invalid email IDs they want to get. So select star. So count, they want to get the email IDs count, right? So how many students having that invalid IDs, we can have that as a count of student name. From which table? From students table. So from student table, where we have to check or apply condition on mail ID, right? So yes, email, which is not like invalid, right? So which is first letter should not be an at the rate. So other digits may be anything. So again comma. dot com will be there. So if it is not like this, that is nothing but invalid id. So right, the count of that invalid id we have to get. So it is not from like this, or so not like what is not like. So email, so email is also not like null, it should not be a null. So these are the two questions which we have to get. So you understood, right? This we have to use normal. So or email is not null. This is the two cases which email ID should not be look like. So here you will get the count of the students who are having the invalid IDs. So you can execute this part so that you can get how many students are having the invalid ID. So the fifth question I am answering here. So only the three students who are having this. If I want to get the name of the two things, we have to use the group by, because we are using aggregate function. We have to group by yes name. So it's okay. Instead of count, we can just get the name of the students. Sorry. So I can get the student names who are having invalid emails. See, Maya and Soha and Amir having the invalidates. You can also write emails what they have. If I select this part, you can see the mail IDs here. See, at the rate is missing for this Maya email ID, and Soha is having null email ID, and Amir is having at the rate missing here. So these are the invalid IDs of the students who are having. If you want to count, you can just count. So instead, along with count, if you want to add, you have to use group by. So this is what is the count of students who are having invalid IDs. So next question they are asking about is display the name and the email of the student who have an Gmail account. So who are having a Gmail account, they want to they want to get that data. So the same, like they should apply the condition on email ID only. So they want to get the name of the student, right? So yes name, and then we can have like email also for better understanding from the students table, and where email ID. So it is not like it's, but like look like they want to get a Gmail account, right? So Gmail is nothing but we'll have a Gmail word, right? At gmail.com. We should have Gmail, means Gmail should be there in the text anywhere. That may be at the middle or a start. So that's why we have to use this percentage symbol in front also, in back also. In between anywhere we have to have this Gmail text. So other condition we no need. So this will be the condition which we have to check. So if in the email, if it is a Gmail text, then it is comes under a Gmail account. So see, these many students, maybe the count is 13. 13 students having Gmail account which is having a Gmail in their text. So email ID. So this is how we can get the students who are having a Gmail account. And the next question, seventh question, is display the above record but doesn't consider the invalid email ID. So here you can see at the rate gmail, gmail is present for the Amir record, but at the rate is missing. So that is missing is invalid id, right? So we have to remove that invalid ids also. So we should only get that the valid ids only. So for that purpose, what we have to do is we have to include at the rate symbol also. At the rate should be there. So for that purpose, what I'm doing is I'm doing the same thing, like what you have to is at the rate gmail.com should be there at the rate. So by adding this particular thing, we can remove that invalid IDs. We can get this. So Amir ID is deleted. So out of 13, we are getting 12 records as a valid email IDs. And next, move to the next question. So eighth question, they're asking like display the qualification and total number of students registered registered based on their qualification. They have to use alias names, total stud for total number of students. For total number of students, they want to use total stud as a alias name, and they want to display the qualification and also the total number of students, count of the students who are registered for that particular qualification. They want this kind of data. So as I said earlier, like when I am doing the count of that particular students who are having invalid IDs and those things, so I haven't got an error, like we can't have an aggregate function along with that other fields. For that purpose, we have to use group by statement. It's like similarly here also, while we are using aggregate functions in our thing, we have to go with a group by condition. So I want to display the qualification and the count of that particular students or student id. We can go with student name also as a total student. So I'm they want to give alias names, right? Total stud, so they want to give that name, so whatever they mentioned I have given. So total count of students we have mentioned like that. From what table we are fetching is from student table. So I'm using aggregate functions along with other parameters, so we have to use the group by. So we are adding whatever the aggregate function, we have to mention the on what parameter we are grouping that. So out of qualification we are grouping, right? So with that qualification students will be grouped as one, and we get the count of that particular students. So like, if I select this, execute this particular statement, you can see the outputs. So graduate students are 9 from the students, and postgraduate students are 7, and undergraduate students are 14. So by this we'll get like 20 students which we have registered or we have in the table. So this is how we can group by using this count function and group by statement. So this is the eighth question. We have used aliasing also, as is the statement for aliasing purpose. You can see here count we have got like aliasing them. If we remove this aliasing kind of thing, you can just get the count of students like that only. So see, no name for that column. If you want to have a name for that column, you can have like total students. For that qualification you can have like this. So this is called aliasing concept. And then ninth question, they are asking like display the full name of the month and the total number of students. Display the full name of the month and total number of students who are having their birthday in that month. So who are the students having birthday in that month, they want to print. So they have to use for month, they have to use month as an alias name and total as as the total keyword. So sorry, text. So for that what I have to do is we have to select whatever the month name. So month name from that whatever the table. So we'll be having like month of, so month date from what, from we have to get that from date of birth, right? So DOB. So from date of birth we will get a month, and then we will be having like, sorry. So instead of that what we can do is we can have like this convert statement. We can convert this into month. Okay, something is wrong. So month name, from what we have to get a month name from the date of birth. So um so month name from this date of birth, month name from the date of birth, and what they are asking is, and the students, the total number of students who are having the date of birth in that month, right? So count of the student, or they are asking student id count from student table. We are using aggregate functions, so group by whatever the uh, condition which are like grouping by month, right? So grouping by month of date of birth. We have to use expression which is of month. So this will be the condition, right? So based upon month, we are grouping that, and then Yeah, it's throwing an error because in SQL we will have this function. In SQL server we will be not having this. So what you can do is we can just print the month itself. So if you want to have a full name, you can just use the case statement. So if it is a one, so you can have like case, and then we can type it as January. On other case two, it will be a February, like that you can mention. So now up to now is fine. We have grouped based upon, they are asking you to use the aliasing name, right? So for months we can use as months, and then for month month, and then for as count they want to use it as total. So I was selecting this particular statement. We can see first month is having six students from that month having birthdays there, and for second month only one student. For seventh month we are having two students birthdays, and for 10th month we are having one student. For 12th month we are having four students birthdays. So like this we can get the students who are having birthdays in those months. So next 10th question, they are asking to display the student name that was born in a leap year, considering the student name and the year of that student. So based upon the student name and ordering by student name and year of the month, they want to get the students' names who are born in a leap year. So for the, what we have to do is we have to select the student name from the student table. So from where we have to apply condition on years, right, as date of birth. From that we have to get an year. So year of that DOB, date of birth. So year should be a multiple of 4 to become a leap year. So multiple of 0, or so year should be also a multiple of 104 at a time. So for that purpose what we have to do is it should be multiple of 400, right? So if should multiple of 4, and also multiple of 400, and also we have to check one more condition, like it also a multiple of 100 or not. So and is it a multiple of 100? Not be a multiple of 100, but should be a multiple of 400, and that the condition of that whatever leap year you should understand to answer this particular kind of question. It should be a multiple of 4, or a multiple of 4 and 100 together, that is 400, or it should not be just a multiple of 100. So you have to check this condition to understand that particular student is in burn in a leap year or not. I'm just executing this. So number of students we are having seven students who have born in a leap year. So if you can see their birthdays, you can see that that will goes into a leap years. So next, display the students whose city is Kolkata as a home student, and others as a distance students under a column remarks, and also display the name and city of the student. They want to get this data, name and city, and they want if it is a Kolkata student, then we can call it as a home student, and if the city is not from Kolkata, they want to get a text like distance students. They want these type of things, like I told you, like you have to, when it case of months, you can use case statements. For if it is a one, you can go with January, likewise. So how that you can do, you can understand by answering this question. They want to get the name of the student and name or city of the student, and then they want like a home student or those case. So how to write case statements, I want to show you. So case, and then we have to write like we have checking based upon city, right? So a student city is equal to if he is from Kolkata. So he is from Kolkata, then we can call him as a home student, or the same case. So another one case, like another if condition, or if he is not from Kolkata, that is not equal to Kolkata, or we can have an else statement here. So if it is from other case, we have to write like distance student. Sorry, this part I'm missing. So these two conditions they have given. If it is from Kolkata, you want to mention me like that, or otherwise we have to have this, and we have to display this particular thing as in remarks. So as remarks. So we are getting this data from which table? From student table. As remarks, this much is enough. So now everything is fine, right? Then we have to end this case, otherwise it will throw an error. So here the case ends. So this is the condition we have to write for the particular thing. Here you can see he is from Kolkata, then there is a home students who are not from Kolkata, they are called distance students. Kolkata home students. So this is the case they want to so 20 students we have mentioned them as remarks who are from Kolkata and not from Kolkata likewise. So now the 12th question they want to display like batch ID and course name and batch start date and batch end date for all the batches. So batch end date is equal to batch start date plus course duration. So based upon course duration, we have to create the start date and end date of that particular thing. So for that purpose, what I'm doing, just observe. First, we have to get a batch ID from batch table, and then course ID from the course table. So I'm using aliasing names like B and C. So next we have to get a start date, right? Like batch start date, and we have to get a, end date also, right? So batch end date from watch table, from batch table. B, also from the course table we have other data, right? From course table also we are fetching the data, where B dot course id is equal to the condition which we have to use, this course id and that course id will be same. So from course id and batch course id is same, so matching on that we are fetching this data. So now, whatever the missing part is, I don't know what is the end date for that. So end date can be calculated by using the start date and also the duration of that, whatever we have, duration of that course. So for that purpose, we should have to do some operation there, as we have to write this. So what the thing which have to mention, that we have to mention here. So everything is fine, right? So why we are getting these errors? Yeah, alias names as I have mentioned, right? B for batch and codes for C. Yeah, fine. So now we have to get batch end date. So for that purpose, what we have to do is we have to add the start date and the duration of that course. For example, if you see the course like select start, I will write like I will select the batch. If I want to select the batches or courses, select start from batch. So these are the batches who are having these courses, and also I want to select the courses first here. So these are the courses. First course is having duration of 40 days. So if you add that 40 days to the start date, so that you will get the end date for that course, right? So for that we have to do is date add. So we have to add date to dates. So we have to use interval on what basis we are adding in the day basis. So what were the things which we are adding is we are adding course duration first. With the what I are doing is we are adding that to the batch or whatever doing batch start date. So this thing I have to mention, so that we are displaying as batch end date. So this is fine, right? We are displaying id and course name and start date and the end date from batch table and course table where these two ids are same. So these are statement which you have to add as batch name from these tables on where this condition. You can pause here and understand this query what I have added. So I'm executing this particular thing. So you can see, so batches are there and courses name for that batch are there and start date you can see. For first batch it will be 40 days, right? So it after adding 40 days you can see it will be a go to next month and 12 days you can see. So 201 will be there and 03 13 third month 13 days will be there. So 40 days on adding duration it will give the start date and end date. That is the answer for the 12th question. And 13th question what they are asking is They are asking to display the batch id having difference of hours, 10 hours and less between its starting and ending date, which is having the 10 hours difference between start date and end date will be less than 10 hours. They want to ask, they are asking like, so for that what I have to do is they want to display the batch id, right? So batch id, select batch id from batch table. um, we have to join the batch id and course id for this, because we have to get course details also, right? So we are joining the course thing also. On what condition? So on batch dot course, so we are not using alias names, so we have to mention like from which table we have getting this batch id, batch dot batch id from batch, and we are mapping this course id with the course table id. So we are adding these two, and we are also grouping by batch ID. So if you have grouping, if you want to any condition, we have to use having statement. So I want to get the difference between the start date and the end date. So end date, how we are getting here? Start date we know. Batch of we have batch start date. End date, how we are getting end date here? We have already did this. So this is the end date, right? So I'm just copy pasting that. So now I want to get the difference between start date and end date. So how to get the difference between these two things is we have to use one more statement called as date diff. So if we get the difference between start date and end date, so that they are asking should be less than or equal to 10. So these particular students batch count they want. So if I select this particular statement, I will get the results. So sorry, date difference, they are expecting three arguments, right? So batch, we are getting the day format, so day we have to give like that. If I execute this, sorry, something is I'm mistaken. Q where I have added here, see, Q is typed. Next error will be, let's execute once again so that we'll understand. C dot course duration is not bound, where I have mentioned C, so not C. It is course because we haven't given aliasing names anymore. And here also there is no B. We can call it as batch. Execute. Still okay. Instead of this, we can go with where condition also, because there is no such what we call as, there is no such aggregate functions, right? So batch id we are getting from this batch who are having a difference between start date and end date is less than or equal to 10. So by joining these two tables we can have a difference. So we'll get the answer for this particular, which is having batch id difference 10 hours or less than its starting date and ending date. Next 14 question, display all the batches having similar start date and strength, who are having the similar what we call as start date and strength they want to display. So for that purpose what we can do is select batch id we want to display from batch table, right? From batch table. Next what they want here, you can see like all batches having similar start date. So from that table only we have to map, like every, we have to take one record from the table and we have to check is there any match in that. So for that purpose what we have to do is we have to loop it in that table itself. So for that we have to use two aliasing names. So we are using the same table for joining purpose also. So I'm taking batch 1 A and also batch B for that. So where A dot starting date from that batch is equal to B dot, I'm just taking another like alias name for the table, and I'm checking from both the sides. So A dot B strength is equal to B dot B strength. So we can call it as Cartesian join or like that only. It will be. So batch IDs are not same. So if we check like this, the same ID also get a match at one place, right? So batch ID should not be equal. This is also one more condition we have to apply. And grouping by batch ID. So this is how we have to do. Like we have to check each and every record from the table. In that table itself, we have to check those records. So for that purpose, to get the confusion, to not get confused, we have to add aliasing name. So batch A and batch B we have added, and we have checking the conditions like from aliasing table A start date is equal to B table start date, and from A table strength is equal to B table strength. And so whenever we are checking each cases with other records in that table, we'll get a like same record at one place, so we no need to get like id same id. So we are grouping with batch id. So see this statement, what records will we fetch. So see, there are no batches which are having the start date and strength is same. So we can see no records like that. So that is the answer for this. Like if you ask like this type of queries, you have to write like this. So next 15th question, display the student who enrolled for the batch after its start date. After the start date, who are the batches enrolled, they want to get that date. So that is nothing but start date is less than enrollment date, right? So when the batch date is start date, and after if the enrollment is less than the start date, then it is nothing but the students who are joined after the enrollment date, right? So select. So we no need to get two times the same name, so we can have the distinct keyword. So name of the student from student table. So we have to combine the student data along with the enrollment kind of thing, right? So data joining date, oh, and everything will be in the enrollment date and everything. So we have to join these two tables for that purpose. So joining enrollment on what condition? Student id same as in the enrollment id, sid. So along with that, we should need batch details also. For that, we have to one more join with batch. So that data also we needed, on which we are mapping that into the enrollment table. So enrollment dot batch id is equal to batch dot batch id, where at what condition? Start date, b start date is less than the enrollment date. Whoever joined after the enrollment date is the students who have joined after the start date, likewise. So enrollment date is so start date is less than enrollment date, so that we will get the students who are enrolled after the start date, likewise. So if you execute this part, I think I have used a different name, spell mistake here. See, T have mentioned. So enrollment. Now everything is fine. If I select this particular thing, I can execute. So this is the Maya is the student who have an enrolled for the particular course after his start date. So after his start dates also you can enroll. So by using the enrollment date and the start date, so you can check if it is less than that. So you will get the student data who have enrolled after the start date. Next, they are asking like display the student ID, student name, and total fees for all the students. They are asking like for all the students we should know the total fees. Like they want to sum up the fees of the students who have enrolled for any of the courses, likewise. The same thing which we have done previously, we have to join enrollment kind of thing and batch kind of thing, and we have to map with courses also along with it. Like we know we not have any direct relationship with the student with the courses and then batches and with the courses. So for that purpose we have to join everything. So for that, first we'll see like how to join everything. So instead of where, I will skip it. Like here, up to here we have mapped enrollment with student id, and then student with the batch we have done. So one more thing which we have to join is we have to join course table on the condition like batch dot course